as Mike. Obviously, as always, joined by my amazing colleagues. The man himself, Mr. Jack TM53 Snopsis. Hi, Jack. How are we, sir?
Yeah, good to be back. Good to have you back as well, Mikey. Because obviously you weren't here last week for obvious reasons.
For personal regards, unfortunately. But I am back at full capacity.
You are indeed, but we're not alone.
I'm like a broken car. I have my moments. So, but yep. I'm also joined by our fellow podcaster, as the correct terminology is apparently to the kids. Jordan, how are we, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, and for very obvious reasons, which we'll explain later. But no, it's good.
Funny, yeah.
To be fair, at least we've all got good news for later. So
We have.
But yeah, no, it's been good. It's the Dacia Sandero.
The what?
We've got a lot to cover there, haven't we? As per we obviously always in this podcast, we do like to cover our leagues, and we're just getting a bit more information through. So we're just having a quick scan to see what's going on. I believe those that are watching, hello to you. Hope you're having a good evening as well. Well, one thing I think we should start off with, because it hasn't really had the coverage, is the Lamborghini League that runs on a Tuesday. We haven't really covered this, have we, gents?
No, I think it's each time we've gone to sort of look at covering, like obviously due to certain reasons and technical difficulties in our IT department, sometimes we can't get them results in time. But you know, to be fair, if I still had, it's on GT Sport. I was going to say if it was on something else, but to be honest, if I had the time, I'd actually give it a go.
Yeah. So, do you have the tables then, Mikey, for the Lamborghini League?
I actually do, yeah. I do indeed.
How are we looking then in the championship?
NXGEN Saxo, is leading the way. Oh, actually joint first with MRC Bobby, both with 56 points. Pretty. This is after round 3 at Le Mans. It's actually quite interesting. It's quite close. It's not like far afield. It is pretty close in between for each competitor. Obviously third we've got Jay Norwood, 44 points. Duds CF 14, 36, obviously same as Bertus. And then Weiss 77, 30. And then obviously good old Danzo, 26 points. Actually nice to see that name, I was supposed to done it quite a while. Obviously we got our Bert Fry, 16 points. Unfortunately did not finish, in the last round. Obviously Pilgrim and Arisoft 2000, obviously the same, but they're on 11 points. But to be fair, mate, from looking at that alone, it's quite tightly contested. But as well, it's at Bergring as well, so that's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, it looks like a quite close championship, to be honest with you. Like you say, Next Gen Saxo and MRC Bobby tied on that 56 points, and Duds and Suburtus on 36 as well, battling for 4th. And me and Jordan know Duds and Suburtus quite well from the Megans and the Scirocco leagues.
Saxo as well, Saxo and Lobby 1.
Yeah.
To be fair, I know Danzo quite well, because I know how crafty he can be. He takes it. I don't know if this is just me talking, but every time I've gone against Danzo, he's took it. Like the first 2 or 3 rounds, he's sort of got to feel what everyone else is like. There's somehow all of a sudden becomes like Lewis Hamilton. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm still sat there in a Vauxhall course, and he's like gone. I'm like, eh?
Well, he does run the number 44, so might explain something.
The Geordie 44, yeah. So.
It's good for us to cover the Lamborghinis though, because we haven't really had the chance to, and obviously they've just done their first well, rather their fourth round tonight, so we'll cover that later on in the week. Obviously, another league ran tonight in the F1, but we'll come back to that at the end as we always do. So we'll move over to Wednesday. Jordan with the GT3 Assetto Corsa. That might have just prompted you into scrambling for some tables.
Yep. Let me see what I can find a minute.
The numbers looking quite healthy in the Super Trofeos, though. Whilst Jordan looks at those 10 drivers in the championship, which is good to see.
Yeah, that's quite good. Obviously, the GT3 for ACC has 2 lobbies. If I can find some pictures, I know where to ask for them.
Yeah, so obviously looking at the league so far, all of the leagues from this season, for season 19, are running quite healthily. There's no real sort of concern about any of the leagues at the moment. Obviously, of course, we could always have more drivers in the league if we could, but I don't think there's really any major issues from what I've heard. It's all sounding really nice and swimmingly, really.
Yeah, I'm unsure if I don't know if the tables have been fully done yet. I'm just asking. So, do you want to go on a minute? We'll come back to GT3.
Yeah, we'll come back to that then. So we'll move on to Thursday for the 2 GT Sport Championships that we run. Of course, we've got the Power Max Megane Trophy on GT Sport. We went round Interlagos on Thursday, which was eventful in Lobby 2. But Jordan, obviously, I always like to give you a first shot at it because you're in Lobby 1. How did it go?
Yeah, it went well, to be fair. Very, very tight in terms of the pace. But Hira Kram taking another victory. Another victory with maximum points. Although he did miss out Tsukuba, but taking that into account for his drop score, he's not going to take a perfect score this season. Because he didn't get fastest lap at Nürburgring, but so he took the win. A good race from Hill Climb though saw him take second. Saxo actually completed the podium. Now amazingly, Saxo's down in 7th at the moment, and he's already in the championship. Yeah, and he's about 29 points behind Hira Kram. Already. Following that, you had Ruddo, P. Gibb in 5th. He's starting to get his run of form back in since Alsace. He got a podium at Alsace. He's had a good form since, which is good to see for P. Gibb because he does deserve some good results. Bruce Lee came after that. Then it went Timmy. Then I got a feeling who is 9th? Yeah, Janio, Timmy. Timmy, Janio, me. Then you had Rally Matt and D Whitehouse followed by Waze to finish us off. Wade's not quite last in the championship because Les is below him, but Les is only a filler. So last of the permanent drivers.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good race. It was a really good race. I've just been informed.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I've just been informed we don't have any current GT3 tables. They have unfortunately not yet been fully finalised.
Oh, that's okay.
But I believe I'm just double checking if there were. I do have results for them, so we can come back to them.
So we'll come back to them. We'll finish off the Thursday stuff, and then we'll come back to Wednesday. Yeah. So we'll do a little bit of a time hop backwards. I have to say, Lobby 2 of the Megans it's just Lobby 2 of the Megans, isn't it? It's just fantastic. Every time I watch them and commentate on the Megans and Lobby 2, let's not take anything away. Martin JL09 this season had been absolutely fantastic. I'd even argue he probably has the pace to be in Lobby 1. He is absolutely on it. So he won again, got pole position. D10 Piper was second. D10 Piper's certainly got the speed. He's won a race this season, so interesting to see how he goes for the rest of the campaign. 1805 got his first podium for some time. He finished third. It's a good drive from him. He needed that result. Danzo ended up getting fourth after qualifying on the front row. I've been really impressed with Danzo this season. He's been absolutely on it. He seems like he's got his form back, and I do think that he's going to be, challenging here and there for the odd race win. He's not got one yet, but he's had 2 podiums this season now, so he's pretty much there. Bigsy had a good race up to 5th. Snav was 6th. Suberta 7th at the end. I think it was 8th place went the way of, just trying to remember off the top of my head here, it was Pip Didjar. He had another solid race. Seamus was 9th. He just about pipped Dud's CF14 to the line, but I think Seamus has not had the type of season that some would have predicted so far. He's had a podium in the opening 4 races, but you'd have earmarked him for a championship contender, but it's just not worked out for him.
Yeah, Seamus is a weird one. I mean, I know he doesn't fully. So he didn't fully. I think he does enjoy the Megane, but it's not one of his strength cars, if you know what I mean. In the game, compared to others, for example, it's definitely not one of his strengths, and he pretty much openly admitted that it's not his strength, but he does enjoy the Meganes, which is good to hear, really, because it's nice to know that even if someone's not on a good run of form, they're still enjoying the races. Because in theory, you should, in theory, be able to finish anywhere and have a good race.
So that was a good set of races from both lobbies, and then we move obviously into the Scirocco lobbies, which were, what's the word I'm looking for? Eventful. Shall we say? Gosh, it's just, Scirocco's are fantastic to watch. Both lobby 1 and lobby 2. Jordan, again, you were just came up short.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Like I got to a point, and I was listening to your stream, Jack, on the whilst I was driving, and you didn't pick up on what I was doing with Bruce for a very long time. Which was I got behind him, and we had about 7 minutes to go, and immediately I was right. I'm not gonna try pushing him. Just not gonna try overtaking. Let's just work with him, try and build a gap, because I knew. Dave behind had a penalty of sorts near the closing stages, and I knew if we scrapped he'd catch up, which he eventually would catch us up at the end when we had our 1 lap battle, but just didn't quite get the right exit on through Juncal. If I got that, I think I'd have been through, but it was good. It was really good.
It was. Hirakram won again, but it was not straightforward. He had quite a tough time. He was being really pressured by Ruddo.
No bonus points as well for Hirakram.
No, obviously fastest lap went to Timmy.
Yeah.
Who sadly retired for a spectacular reason for honesty. Bruce was 3rd, which was another podium for him this season. Jordan,
but it was Ruddo though that surprised everyone, pinching pole.
I don't know. We know how quick he is. I wasn't too surprised.
For a first race though, in the Scirocco's, considering like Hirakram, myself, Bruce have all had, I'm going to say 3 weeks worth of racing, but 4 rounds behind. Well, yeah, 3 rounds, 2 weeks behind us going into Interlagos. It's quite impressive from Ruddo to rock up and just go, here I am.
Here I am, rocking like a hurricane. Sorry, I can't help myself.
I will say this much about Ruddo. It's certainly not as if he hasn't put the practice in that car, because he's got about, compared to the rest of he's got about 163 miles according to his Scirocco indicator. So he's certainly got a bit of mileage underneath it. D Whitehouse was 5th, obviously Gibbs 6th. D10 Piper 7th, and then Seamus was 8th. Timmy retired due to what can only be described as an accident that certainly wasn't intentional. But this is the thing, you get annoyed with what happened, and then you look back, you go, I know it wasn't intentional, calm down, move on. That's all that needs to be done, really.
You win some, you lose some.
It's
just
And to be fair to Timmy, obviously this, Jack. I spoke to him the day after, and you gotta give credit for what he said when he came back into the chat.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when something like that happens, it's the adrenaline starts going, and that's it. Red Mist descends because it was really unfortunate because he was having a really good battle and he had the potential to challenge Hero Ruddo for winning that race, I think. So it was like one of those fully understandable Red Mist moments. But no, I do have to commend him on it on when he returned.
Yeah, definitely. He put a really nice message in. So good act of sportsmanship from Timmy to recognise what had happened and just said, right, let's get on with it, and that's what we want. Just going into lobby 2, Rally Matt again in the Shroccos. Jordan, you put him in the wrong lobby. he's flying.
He's flying, but it wasn't. Matt was a really weird one because when the lobbies were decided, obviously it was his first go on the game. And I mean, we knew he was quick from Project Cars 2, but GT Sport is a completely different ball game in terms of the way the cars handle, the way the cars drive. And in the test race, we done a pre-season race around Dragon Trail Gardens, and normally that shows quite well who's got the pace, but potentially makes mistakes. And obviously, because those who make more mistakes more often tend to be put in those lower lobbies, because you'll find they make the mistake and they can't catch back up and have that race. So it's there to help them. And obviously, in the Megans, Matt was fine. He was flying along in the Megans, to be fair. But the Scirocco's, he was just making a fair few mistakes here and there. And obviously, ever since then, he's just got a bit of practice in, and he's really taken off. But again, it'll all come down to a rebalance for the next season. Should the Scirocco's continue.
I think with the way that Matt's performing, he's on course to take the title in Lobby 2. He's won 3 out of 4 races and he's only taken part in 3 of them, which kind of sums up how good he's been.
I mean, and just to add on to your impressive record of 3 wins, technically speaking, maximum points so far for Ali Matt. He's taken every bonus point he's raced in, along with the 3 victories. So with the drop score in place, he's effectively got a perfect score right now.
Yeah, he's doing brilliantly. Dan's over second in the race. Him and Bertus just absolutely love one another this season. They have had so many fights on circuit. It's been great to watch. So fair play to Danzo. He got the better of Bertus this week. So he was second versus third. Studs was fourth, which was really good performance from him. Snav obviously in 5th place, who did a big slide across the line and nearly cost himself 6th from 1805, so that would have been problematic. Biggsy ended up 7th in his Care Bears car, which everyone knows my opinion on the Care Bears livery. Gino Demo was 8th, which was nice to see him actually put a good shift in, because he had a little bit of a gap to make up at Tsukuba, but he drove well. I was quite impressed with his improvement between the two weeks. Obviously behind him in 9th, 10th and 11th, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head here, I think it was Mark Parker in 9th, Roven Island in 10th, and Jazzy Just was 11th. But again, the 2 debutants from Tsukuba, which was Jazzy Just and Gino Demo, they were both gapped in that race, but they were a lot closer this time, and Jazzy Just was unlucky. I think he had a little incident midway through the race. It just dropped him off the back, but his times were right in the mid-pack, so coming into Red Bull Ring this week's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring in the dry again this season. Obviously, it'll be the third.
Boo.
Well, you say boo, but it's going to be the third time we've run them in the Megans. We've done a wet race 2 seasons ago. We've done a dry race, and as much as you like the wet, Jack, because it causes a bit of chaos, the racing was far better in the dry. It just, I mean, Lobby 2, I think, was still a little bit strung out last season, but it's just, I think you had pockets of more cars, whereas Lobby 1, I don't know if you watched Chris's stream last season for Lobby 1, Jack, it was immensely tight, so that played quite a big factor.
I'm not bothered about Lobby 1. I want to see chaos in Lobby 2, because that's the best one to watch, because the drivers are just incredible. They just go for it. I love it. It's a great league. Obviously, we've got, just before we come back to the Wednesday ACC League, We do have one running on a Thursday, which is the Mix Series for Assetto Corsa on PC. Jordan, I don't know if you've been given anything for the tables.
I do have some tables, yes, because
because you have the document open and I always forget. So I'm honest.
As you have probably guessed correctly, I have the document open in front of me, which is good. I'm just going to slightly amend it for the minute so I don't have to scroll backwards and forwards on my phone.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, please wait for this interlude. Okay, here we go.
I'm always glad you're in this podcast, Mikey.
Hey, someone's got to break the awkwardness sometimes. It's a job I pretty much perform to pretty good levels, I believe.
You hold yourself to a good standard.
Well, it's a good tradition I like to keep hold of, right? You know what I mean?
Right, before I read this, I'll just say hello to everyone who's joined the stream, and hopefully everyone's alright.
Good evening to everyone.
Looks like we had a new winner in the ACC League, which did start out as a mixed league, but I think most people have chosen some pretty much all the people have chosen GT3 cars. But Christian Hamrebo, took the first race win. Race 2 was won by Silver Arrow Shot. But Paul Scott now leading the way because Gazza Williams unfortunately didn't start the races, so possibly away for the night. But it means Paul Scott has 110 points to Gazza Williams' 84. Silver Arrow has 78, Uncle has 67, joint with Daniel Blomqvist. Chris Dunster has 60, Kevin Smith has 59 with Andreas Bayer on 56. Yeah, Simon Howes on 54, Sean West 47, Daniel Holmer 46, Christian Hamrebo on 43, Barry Farrelly on 36, Bob Bartle on 33, Jumper Cluvert on 27, Aces on 21, Tino Schilling 17, Tom Mundy 10, Sam Gillies on 3. So very tightly packed championship that, just from those gaps in between all the drivers.
Looks quite fascinating. Obviously, Paul Scott's been with us for quite a number of seasons now.
That's around Hungaroring as well, which is a tight circuit at best, especially for GT cars. They're heading to Brands Hatch next week, so that should be a good race.
Alright, okay, so just going through everything, I think we can go back to the Wednesday now, can't we, Jill?
Yeah, we can. I have some. I know what the results are. I don't know what the table standings are, but I can tell you some results in the races. Obviously, the guys went to Nürburgring, and the weather was very mixed from what I've heard. Yeah, the weather was very mixed. Apparently, it was a dry to wet, possibly back to dry, or all sorts of craziness. I know in the build-up, the guys were testing very hard in conditions that I think it went from dry to about 15 minutes later the track was flooded in some of the practice sessions they were doing, because obviously with ACC you've got a server that you rent, and you've got to put in all sorts of different numbers for randomness of weather and how quick it changes and effects and stuff like that. So they had to play around a little bit. So a few interesting practice sessions from what I've heard. But Lobby 1-wise, it was Kill City who took pole position, but it was Mr. Robot who took the victory.
Mr. Robot's not his name, is it?
No, genuinely, his PSN is Mr. Robot-LF.
So we don't have Mr. Alien anymore, we've got Mr. Robot now.
Mr. Robot, yeah. And Kill City behind him by 19.5 seconds. So obviously the weather playing a massive part in this race. Kevin McKenty got 3rd, Lucan got 4th, Gnarly Pop 5th, Kevin got 6th in the end, Lely got 7th, Mouse in 8th, Bean Flicker at 9th, 10 laps down, and Elliot Hankin whose league it is, didn't finish, I don't think, in 10th. In terms of lobby 2, because obviously it's quite nice this league has 2 lobbies, which I'll be participating in tomorrow. Jamo got second on the grid but took the win. Silver Carter took pole but second place in the race, just 1.7 seconds between them, so that's good to see. That gap. Hemo 444 Ever US is third. Mike Ferrapt in 4th, Danzo 5th, Robbo FPV in 6th, Fox FCF in 7th, and Khaled Hassan 77 in 8th. There was a couple of DNFs in Nick Oslu's and Duds. But I know tomorrow they're going to head to Misano for round number 5.
Great circuit. Really good circuit, Mr. Sarno. I'm quite a big fan of that track. Obviously, predominantly a number of people, and I think I don't really know too much about it in terms of
not cars. Not cars.
Yeah.
It goes, which is a good start. From MotoGP games, but obviously it's a completely different control system and handling physics.
So we've travelled back in time. We've got to go back. So we've
back to the future.
In time again. Yeah, like quite literally. So Friday, obviously, we'll start with the Focus Cup, Jord. I know that you commentate on that. How was it this week?
Absolutely insane. Is about the best way to put it, because they went to Suzuka East for round 4, and we both know, Jack, how chaotic that can be. Fantastic thing, obviously. The points haven't fully been done yet, but they will be up probably the next day or so. But Hirakram nicked pole position right at the end of qualifying. It was an immense qualifying. Waze held pole position for the majority of the session, and then Hirakram came along. I'm just trying to quickly flick through by 0.037 of a second. Hirakram nicked pole position right on the cusp. So that was very, very good. Then Waze didn't actually get off the start line from second. He wasn't quite ready by the seams of it, but didn't affect who won, which was, any guesses?
Is it Hirakram?
It was Hirakram, yeah.
I would have never have guessed.
Hirakram took the win. However, he wasn't unchallenged. P. Gibb was within a second of him heading into about the last 5 minutes of the race. And unfortunately for me, he made a mistake through turn 1, caught the AstroTurf on the outside of turn 1, which foiled him, and then he'd done it again a second time about 2 minutes later, which put him from 2nd to 6th in the end. So it's a bit of a shame for P. Gibb, because he was running really, really well. It was looking like he could have potentially nicked the win off of Hirakram with a bit of a daring move into turn 1. But Philo came back through the pack for 2nd, P1 Don taking 3rd, and Philo also taking fastest lap of the race. But all through the race, all through the pack, there was battles going on. You just don't have enough time to go through it all, to be fair. It was that good.
Like a really, really busy league, and obviously the focus as we run them in the past was always good. But
yeah, well, it's interesting because the Megans and the Schrockers are heading to Red Bull Ring, and the Focuses are going there a day later, and it's raining in the Focus League.
So the Focus League is running a wet session, but the Megans aren't.
Correct. Yes.
So wrong, mate. So wrong. It should be the other way around. I thought this is why people would hate it if I was a wet race every week.
You'd have them go around Spa-Francorchamps in the wet.
Have them go around in boats, to be honest with you.
I was about to say that you'd have them go around in a power boat, going brum brum.
Here's an outboard motor. Strap it to your Magan. It'll be fine.
Yeah. 80 horsepower engine, get you going, sound. Just spoiler on the back, you're alright. Nice bit of downforce, sort.
sorted. So that's good. That's good. We got obviously 2 other leagues on a Friday. We got the GT4 World Series, Jordan. Again, maybe we should stop relying on Jordan because he's always got the spreadsheet open. But we always go to Jordan because he's good at reading off the tables, and I know that we're going to come to Mikey in a bit for.
What, full stop? Today we found out Mikey manages to drive F1 blind.
What's that mean? To be fair, there was a few times I did say to Matt, "Hey Matt, what does that mean? You need to do that, mate." Oh, okay, cool.
I'm just quickly getting up Beam Flicker's stream here to see if I can get the final results because I don't have the points. Again, I think Kevin does the points, but I know he's been fairly busy the past.
How is because Beam, obviously, Johnny for those that are long-time members, obviously switched his name to talk about coffee.
Fall Guys, mate. He's the Fall Guys master now.
Oh, is he? Oh, right.
Beam Flicker, innit? Beam Flicker.
Yeah, true. Good point. But,
depends, Nescafe or what?
I think he's decaf now, isn't he? I suspect.
Nah, decaf's horrible, Mum. I'm sorry. No, it's
nah. You go on a rant for a week.
Oh no, it's.
You managed to go from racing to Mikey ranting about coffee.
Oh mate, I'll rant about anything given the opportunity. Trust me.
I've got the. I do have the results from Killarney. So they went to South Africa, which is a great circuit. I've not driven it yet, but I know it's a great circuit. And I think the only recent game to have it is ACC, which is really, really good. Gnarly Pop actually won the race in a Ginetta by 13.0 seconds to Beam Flicker in second. Slayer was third, Zlatan fourth, Kevin was fifth, Jamo sixth, Stu Packham was seventh, Silver Carter eighth, and Gino Demmer was ninth in the end.
Oh, did he make his debut on a set of course then? Because he's also racing in the Scirocco's too.
Yeah, no, he's. I think he might also be doing the Ginettas as well.
Great, that's a spread of games.
Well, isn't it? Yeah, well, I mean, I race on all 3 now, I think. So it's a bit chaos.
So Beam Flicker then still looking towards trying to get his championship, because I know how much he's going to want to get another title under his belt.
Yeah, well, as of the last round, he was tied with Silver Carter, so that means he's definitely going to be leading the championship going out, heading to Misano for round 5 this week. Seems like a few of the. That's 2 of the ACC leagues heading to Misano. It's almost like they're decided to do a packaged week deal.
And then the last one on a Friday, of course, we've got iRacing, which is the Porsche PMR Trophy Cup. Yeah,
the Porsche PMR Cup. They went to Daytona Road Course,
which is a split series as well.
It is a split series. I think there's only 2 people in the other class at the moment. Unfortunately, I don't have the. I just need to have a look for a stream because I can't see any points.
All right. Come on, all the hosts who are listening and the boys who are doing the tables. Let's get on with it.
But I do know.
Source of information.
But I do know.
You keep this alive. We need you. You are the heroes.
I do know who streams it though, so I'm just seeing if I can find that stream quickly.
So whilst he does that, Mikey, your best impression of an elevator music for us?
Bum bum ba bum ba bum bum bum.
Always rely on Mikey for some comedy interlude.
Mikey, ever need a singer like any social events?
And after dinner speaker.
Yeah, after dinner speaker, I'm raising funds to purchase things.
House.
Well, there is that. and buy a more economical car, and yeah, the list is endless. But yeah, I'm available most weekends. You know,
For a price.
well, yeah. My services are premium. Can I say?
You got to be careful what you say there, because it
I
can come
think
across as yourself like being a bit different.
See, I'm saying
didn't
about
stream.
an entertainment perspective. You've took it dark, so I'm just leaving it at that.
So, moving on swiftly, Jordan.
Unfortunately, Jack didn't stream it this week, so we don't have any results. I'll see. It could. The thing is, that's the thing is, if someone's got another commitment for that particular date, obviously.
Okay.
So
what will...
We'll come back to that next week, I think.
Yeah, come back to it next week. So, Mikey, we'll move on to Sunday, because obviously we don't race on a Saturday because we're all busy doing other things that we need to get done.
Life stuff.
How was... I know that obviously you did Lobby 2, and I know you're racing it, but have we got the tables for Lobby 1, friend?
Not at the moment. Well, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a big chat about Lobby 1 next week. But obviously because I think it's the break after
this week.
Yeah, obviously for the Christmas. So obviously because we're having the break, obviously we can do more of a discussion on that. Yeah. Well, not just start earlier sort of thing, but we can sort of do a bigger segment on it, and we can talk about both weeks for Lobby 1.
And Lobby 2, of course, because you did
Lobby 2. We did. It was what I can say. Lobby 2. We did 2 tracks this week, as we didn't have an event on for Lobby 2 last weekend due to low numbers at the time, but it was great turnout, to be fair, over both races. Great bit of clean racing around their big ring in their M4s, and obviously once again at Brands Hatch, very competitive. A good bunch of lads, good laugh, barely any issue, no issues whatsoever, but really competitive. To be fair, I'm not gonna lie, I'm at the back. I'm sort of I'm sort of just picking up other people's bits of rubber, to be honest, mate. But
how did you get on now? What were your results like over the over the 4 races, if you can remember?
7, 8, 8, 7. Pretty much consistent.
Like a dialing code.
Like an area code. 0845 878 7 667 45 45.
You won then. I mean, Tezza, he was at the front. Who's been fighting? Who's looking good in the championship?
In regards to who's been looking quite good in the championship, to be fair, there's quite a few people. It's always it's very. It's always just mixed. There's not one person in general that's dominating. Obviously, we really had, I think it's 3 races, to be fair, because we didn't do Dragon's Tail, which was the first round. Because obviously Lobby 2 came in after the start of the lobby. But yeah, it's all over the place, mate. So obviously near Big Ring, we had that's quality. Sorry.
That's alright, mate.
Just trying to find it. I've got about 7 different images and stuff trying to show whatever. GTP Rick WRX. Won it by 12 seconds, to be fair. But after that, obviously, it was very close. To be fair, I was 27 seconds off the pace. I see that as a moral victory for me. I don't get a chance really to practice for it. I just like taking part. Obviously, being able to at least host the league for the guys. But obviously, Nürburgring was, to be fair, the first 2-3 laps, everyone was pretty close together. It was actually quite interesting. It was quite nice. It's obviously different because usually you get to some of the leagues and see you later. You don't see anyone for about half an hour till they're passing you, or you're passing them or whatever. But it's obviously like the second race at Nürburgring. D10 Piper won it. Obviously then Bifta 76 come behind him, and obviously then Rid WRX. It's literally like obviously I kept it consistent with I got a 10. That's even worse. But still, it's just one of them. There's never a consistent. Obviously there's the same people who are at the top, but it's always sort of moved about. But to be fair, it Brand Hatch, mate, Rick WRX, he dominated, to be honest, both races. But the first race was pretty close.
To be fair, Mark's just come over in the chat of the stream saying that Rick is looking good, so he concurs with your
Mark
conclusion.
If you want, can take over for the of mine. A few more points would be nice. But no, to be fair, it's good. It's a good laugh. Everyone's interested. Just give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Follow the normal procedure. Go into the events, sign up for it, and obviously we'll go from there and try and get you involved. In some way, shape, or form. Might possibly have some commentary soon. Won't be myself because I can't do two things at once, unfortunately. I wish I could, but can't. But yeah, there's many things in the ironworks, as they say.
Yeah. So let's go on to the other race in league on a Sunday. I know we had Kev here last week, Jordan, and he spoke about R Factor 2 in terms of the ETCR championship that they've gone on. Have they had any updates?
Obviously they've got points for round 1. Obviously they had round 2 on Sunday, but I know there's a couple of things going on in the background stewarding wise. So we don't have round 2 points, but I can give you the points after round 1. I mean, this may be the way we have to work it for this, obviously being on a Sunday. Obviously any incident reports can be given to the stewards within a 24-hour period, and it can take a further 24 hours before anything gets resolved, as we know, Jack. So I can give you the points after round 1 going into Sunday. Obviously Sunday just gone, they were racing at Zolder, which is quite a good circuit. But round 1 they headed to Alton Park, your favourite circuit, Jack.
Best circuit.
And after that it was Kenneth Andreasen who is leading the way on 36 points, Chris Needham on 33, Alex Risley on 28, Jason Haddington was on 26 with Arnaud Chananet on 25, Bob Bartle on 21, Kevin Smith was on 20 joint with Ollie Page, so that's looking like a good feisty battle for the season if that continues. Kieran Williams on 19, Matthew Williams on 17, Andy Rawcliffe ended the 11 strong field with 15 points.
It's going to be a fascinating battle then in terms of that championship.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's going to be. I'm looking forward to that one. See what's going on.
Billy just asking, do we do comms for Race Room 2? I don't think we do at the moment because obviously me and you, Jack, don't have PCs, nor does Mikey. But if anyone's interested, get in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. I have some news in a few minutes' time. But we want to obviously go through Monday and Tuesday first. This is literally just broke news in the last about couple of hours. So do stay tuned for that. But we'll go on to the Mondays. For once, I think we'll cover. Will we go to the GT Sport League first, Jordan, or would we do it a different way?
I've got the GT Sport League up first, so let's go for that.
We commentate on it.
We do.
And this week was race 1 was absolutely wonderful once again. You know, just looking at how the drivers have been performing. You know, it's been, you know, Tsukuba was not Tsukuba, sorry. It was Tsukuba, wasn't it?
We were at Tsukuba, yeah.
We were a week behind the minis, and it was absolutely what you expected it to be. You know, the front 4 were absolutely magnetic. They were absolutely brilliant. You know, you had Les, Fourfish, Philo, Rally Matt, all fighting for the same piece of track, and Mr. Philo came out on top.
Yeah, it was almost a surprising one as well after qualifying, because Philo didn't qualify as well as we would have thought, in terms of the gap to Les and Fourfish at the front. But yeah, he managed to get through in race 1. It was a fantastic sight to behold. Lots of little battles all the way through the race. But it was race 2 that really, once again for the Mini, stood out because of the reverse grid. And once again, Philo, and you can see Philo's livery on the screen because it's the Norscott one for the Team Newsham. What a blinding drive from a man on a controller.
Yeah, he's been really good this season, and I think had he have not, because he missed a round, didn't he, Jordan, off the top of my head?
He did. He missed round 2, I have to say.
Would have been right involved in the championship fight. He's still got time. It's not unknown. It's not unheard of.
Especially with the endurance race being double points when we get to that.
Yeah, well, not next week, the week after, when we come back after the Christmas break. So that's going to be a big race. I'm looking forward to that one. But the big thing there is that it's Fourfish and Les at the moment who are the championship protagonists. I want to make a quick mention though in race 2. D Whitehouse was unfortunate not to get ahead earlier on, and Wace was another one who was really unfortunate. I thought they both drove really well, and just obviously Dave got a podium, but Wace, obviously things happened and it didn't go his way.
Yeah, no, actually I've got a bit of insider information for the battle for 4th as well. Between like Snav, Fourfish, Bruce. Rally Matt, I think, was involved in that. Waze got involved in the end. Yeah, I've got a bit of insider information for that one, Jack. If you want to do that. So I'll speak of this now because obviously family ties and all that. And he confirmed what I thought, what we thought by the end of the race, was that Bruce was acting as like a bit of a rear gunner, because what Bruce thought was. He wouldn't overtake Snav, he'd act as a rear gunner and get the team points. Because he knew if he went past Snav, it'd open the floodgates, and in terms of the team's points, it would completely destroy the points that Snav had, and that's a very slight advantage. So yeah, that was exactly what Bruce was doing. He was practically rear gunning for the benefit of Team Newsham. Which is good to finally see some people thinking about that team's championship as well.
Absolutely. It's really important. I think when we go over Christmas break, we're going to have a look at a little bit of rebalancing, of course, of the teams, because there's a couple of drivers who've entered the championship, and we do have debutants who will be coming up just in the new year, actually.
In the new year, yeah.
So we're going to have a look at that. We'll have a discussion with John, who's obviously sort of the... How should we describe it with John?
The
protagonist.
Yeah, the returning host.
Yeah. So see how that goes. Obviously, myself and Jordan will still be keeping an eye on everything with the Coates versus Newsham Cup, which has been really good racing. I've enjoyed commentating on it with you, Jordan. Actually, it's quite fun now that we've got a nice rhythm going.
Yeah.
But we still have two more leagues to cover on Monday before we have our time to shine.
Yeah, we'll go to ACC next with the Ginetta GT4 League. Let me just see if anything's been published for round 4. Obviously, they'd have had round 5, which hasn't been updated yet. They went to Zolder in the night time, which would have been fun because I know the lights aren't the best on the PlayStation 4. That is for certain. So obviously we'll probably get more information on that from Kevin for next week.
Okay.
I'll just double check the events page just to make sure nothing was posted there before I fully wrap it off.
Wise, just to cover our own tracks whilst we're doing that.
You never know at times, do you? That's probably stuff that was obviously the race was only done yesterday, so you almost don't expect the points to be done until after our podcast almost. Let's go down, and there it is. And no, I do have points out after round 4, if that's of any use. Round 4 they went to Kyle Lamy, and it was RV Motorsport who was still leading the way on 132 points. Gnarly Pop on 105, so Gnarly Pop going well actually in the Ginettas. Mapster 89, Beam Flicker 88, ADG 71, NXTGEN Ultra at 64, Stu Packham on 57, An Old Man on 49, joint with Big Matters, Swede Roger on 31, GT Delhi B on 31 as well, Duds 23, Spyfry on 21, Dan Gleebor on 17, his first race, so good to see another debutant in the series, and Danzo on 16. So that is how it was from not Monday yesterday, Monday before.
So just Race Room, just the boys on Race Room and PC World. Obviously with the WTCR League, I know that Lee's always on the case in terms of uploading his points, getting everything going. He's very efficient on that one.
To be fair, I've actually got it up on the spreadsheet as well.
Oh, fantastic! Because there was a lot of competitive action in that series when we last spoke about it last week. There was a lot of different winners.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know Alex, who does commentate on it at the moment, was away for round 5, so that again, it's a bit of a shame. But again, obviously, life comes first, as they say. And it's one of the nice things with NXTGEN. It's one of those things that if life gets in the way, it's not a fuss. But 3 different winners once again. Jonas Lindberg won race 1 at Autodrom Most, with William Foyle second, Ben Walker third. Then Lee Horn got picked up a victory in race 2, followed by Zero Grunion and Fraser Rostance.
Post privileges.
Fraser Rostance third in that race, and then Ben Walker got the final victory in race 3, with Arno Channonnet third, and it was Eunice Carbid in third in that one. So in terms of the championship, the top I'll go through the top 10 because there's 28 drivers registered in the series so far.
Yeah, it's quite a lot to go through.
Yeah, we'll go through the top 10. Ben Walker currently leads the way on 333 points. Now that sounds like a lot, but obviously Lee had to amend the point system for the amount of drivers that were entering, and obviously doing 3 races, there's a potential for what is that, 90, 108, I think there's a thing about 111 to 113
How many race
points
is it for a victory?
It's 36, but I got a feeling he does a point for fastest lap as well.
So it's going to be in
It's going to be about 100 and
ballpark figure somewhere.
I think it's going to be around 111 potential points for maximum score, yeah. But Ben Walker has 333, Grunion has 314, Lee Horn has 308, William Foyle 281, Fraser Rostance 245, so that's a big gap to Fraser there. Probably going to be at this halfway point in the stage, you're looking at probably the top 4 now, really in that realistic ballpark. But with that point system, anything can change, as you know, Jack. Jeff Perkis has 237, so not far away from Fraser. Jamie Dory has 203, last year's champion, didn't race at Autodrom Most, which is why he is down there. Jonas Lindberg on 189, Arnaldo Guedes on 182, and Arnaud Channonnet rounds out the top 10 with 173. And next, after the break, they head to the Scandinavian Raceway GP.
Well, that's going to be a good circuit. Going to be really fun for the drivers to go around, especially in those WTCR cars. They're going to have a great time. But onto the last league that we always talk about every week, from our own trio perspective. We were racing around Zandvoort tonight, the three of us, and it's the first time I can ever say this, but on circuit at least, all three of us covered the top 3.
Yeah.
Well, technically, I finished before Marty put out a penalty, so, we'll say for the case of the argument, we did, but in reality, we didn't.
I think to be honest with you, I mean, I know you and Mikey and Jordan were talking about it just before we started in terms of how their respective races were, because they were quite eventful. Mine wasn't, because I don't really know how I got pole. I wasn't expecting.
Full traction control. Sorry, did I say sorry.
I'll just make a point here that I don't run assists, so.
I'm not the best, but hey ho, it happens.
But yeah, I had a really nice start of the race, helped by one of the other drivers who's lined up in second. They didn't get off the line due to whatever glitch had happened in F1 this week. Had 10 seconds to the good before a safety car came out on lap 5, so bunched the field back up.
I actually seen why that came up.
Yeah, because Carl went off, didn't he, and hit the wall.
Yeah, to be fair, no, Carl was quite in front of me, fighting with Jord, trying to keep the pace. And then next thing, it was just the car decided, I don't like this anymore. So
yeah.
Next thing, I was just seeing this Renault decides to become part of the wall.
And then from that, controlled the restart, thought it was going to ruin it because the safety car slowed down right at the pit lane, which slowed me down, but luckily slowed Matty down line of Greasby as well, so I managed to fend him off at the restart, and that was it. Got off and won by 24 seconds in torrential rain, so I can't complain. I wasn't expecting as good a result as that, to be honest, but another win. I think I might have the championship lead back in the driver's standing now, so I think I might have.
Matty, I think Matty's outdoing you by 2 or 3 points.
I'm going to check that. I'm going to check that now, actually.
I'm on it, don't panic.
What was the gap between us, Jordan, going into Zandvoort?
12.
Going into
12
Zandvoort,
points.
You had... I don't know where you got 12 from, it was 7.
Let me have a look.
So if it's 7...
Well, that's I've been looking at something else earlier.
I might have done.
Where is it?
I'll have a quick check myself while we go through it. Jordan, tell me how yours went. Obviously,
I'll give you a quick update for the points wise. Obviously, Jack, you'd have pulled 11 points on Line of Greasby, which puts you 4 ahead provisionally before the standings are made official.
It's a bingo!
It's proven to be a competitive championship, is this? It's good, I'm enjoying it. How did your race go then, Jord?
My race, yeah, it was interesting. I didn't qualify very well at all, to be honest, but I'm going to put that down to my setup, because obviously me and you, Jack, are running wet setups, which mean high downforce, which means in the wet, it's just not quick.
Or in a dry, it's not quick in quali anyway. It was terribly slow.
But yeah, so I qualified pretty much dead last of everyone that could qualify. Obviously, Joshington had his AI replacing him.
Which caused me to not catch you, which is...
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I got off the line at a mental start. Because obviously the glitch put me in for other people, and I managed to get up into 4th. You was 4th? Yeah, it was 4th. Obviously you were leading, Jack. Then it was Alex, followed by Matty, and Alex went off, and that was at turns, I want to say 2 or 3.
Everyone kept going, literally at that second corner. Like us three got it spot on every time. But then everyone else, it was just literally like it just wasn't.
It's a weird one, that corner, because if you don't really know Zandvoort, you won't know that it tightens a touch. It's tighter than it looks when you enter it, and I remember it from the original Assetto Corsa, because I always used to go off on it, because I'd come up to it and go, well, this is a nice bend. Oh, it goes a bit tighter than I thought. I'd look over to the right hand side to see where the circuit was. But yeah, so I'd done that, and then I was following line of Grisby, and he nicked the wall, and obviously he caused, even though I think he did have front wing damage, even though he said he got away with it. I think it does just give a flick of damage, which didn't help him.
I messaged him earlier.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Did you hit the wall on lap 8?" And he said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So I think he has nicked his front wing.
He's definitely nicked the front wing, because he might not show it up badly, but it'll definitely put a bit of damage onto it. Yeah, I was following him from laps, and Mikey on it. I was following him from laps, and then I had to fend off from Carl, who kept trying to get me into turn 3, which was never going to happen.
To be fair though, he gave it a good effort. Like I was watching, I was like, how's he going to do this? Because you were really slow going into turn, like as you went into turn 2, that's where I was getting most of my time on you, because as you've come in, you weren't giving yourself enough of a, you were going in too short.
Yeah, my line kept it quite tight, ready for the hairpin after. I kept it fairly tight, and that's probably why. But I didn't trust the car anyway in the wet.
Surprising for a setup that, not gonna lie, didn't think would perform. I was actually quite surprised, if not actually. I was actually pretty happy with the outcome overall, really.
Yeah.
You got past Matty though in the end, didn't you, George?
Yeah, after a lot of laps, I just basically said I've had enough of this. I'm going to ERS him down the straight, so that's what I done.
Yeah.
Into turn 1.
Yeah.
And then
that was that.
The last.
But a certain someone decided to put a wiggle on.
Yeah, well, it was really weird. I didn't trust the car at all throughout the whole race, to be honest. I don't, and you know this, Jack, I've told you this plenty of times, I don't like the wet physics on LF1. I think they're not right. But they are what they are. And yeah, by about 3-4 laps from the end, the car just wouldn't turn properly. I just couldn't get the front end to bite, and Mikey, I don't know whether your tyres were just in a better condition.
Yeah, my thing were like 50-60%. And I was still able to like, I know we said this before and we joked about it, but I genuinely do reckon, had that AI not stopped me, I reckon it would have generally been neck on neck.
It would have been close, but I think I would have just about held you off, because I had a lot of ERS to burn for coming out that final corner, and the track, even though I was slow going in, I was quite quick coming out of it through the banking, so I think it'd have been close, but I think I would have just about kept it.
But it was a good race.
Oh god, yeah. Without a doubt.
I was actually made up with how we performed, if anything.
Yeah,
obviously the simpletons doing the job. That's not simple.
I think it was a really good race there, wasn't it? I think there was really good action throughout the field, and it certainly looked close when think it was like 5 of you, like Matty right the way through to Mad Ginge. We were all having a good fight.
Hot at it, like, yeah.
Yeah, but we're obviously, this is now, for those that are listening in, this is obviously our last week before Christmas break. So all these last races, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Sunday, we're going to have a couple of weeks off. We won't be returning until the 4th of January. But when we do return for the F1 League, we're at Singapore, which I know Matty hates.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a good result around there either, Jack, to be honest.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've actually been doing some practice on career mode, and this just might actually come as a surprise to Jack, because every time I've got an F1 game, I only play it for the multiplayer, and that's it. Whereas this time, I've actually sat down in my spare time. You know what? I'll give it a crack. I've actually enjoyed it. I've done all right. So I'm quite confident on my abilities.
I'm quite glad I've got 2 weeks to practice Singapore, really, because I always find the street circuits horrible to remember the braking points for everywhere.
I suppose it's one of them. Once you get your head around certain sectors and stuff, you'll be okay.
Yeah, it's the worst thing about them is because you just got a wall. You don't really, if the wall's just the same colour or the same advertising all the way through, it's very hard to pick a secondary breaking point compared to the boards.
You could see it a bit like Baku. Literally, if one bit goes wrong,
the whole lot goes wrong.
Yeah, it's like the inevitability of, well, that was fun. Like, you just know how it's gonna go before you even start. So.
Well, I mean, that is it for the leagues.
For the leagues, yeah.
And what I'm going to say now is the news.
Breaking news.
We were going to talk originally. We were going to talk about the Codemasters takeover between the bidding that's going on between Take-Two and EA at the moment, which, like I said in the F1 chat the other day, it is like being effectively you get to choose whether you want to be punched in the face or kicked in the face. Either way, it's going to bloody hurt. But there is some new news, and it does actually also come out from Codemasters. And when I say Codemasters, in particular, SMS. Now, some of you will already be having alarm bells because of the man in charge of SMS, otherwise known as Ian Bell. You guys can finish the rest of the sentence off if you want to on that. But
no comment.
There is going to be a Project Cars 4.
I've seen that. Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
This came out today. Effectively, it's been teased for a little bit, but Ian Bell's confirmed it, and he's come out and said, and bear in mind this is Ian Bell. Okay, let's everyone listen up. He said it's going to be the most realistic simulation ever made. Now, a couple of caveats to this. Number one, this was said about Project Cars 3, and we know the way that it went. I'm not going to make fun. I'm not going to, because to be honest with you, that's not our style. It's, we could probably do it on our spare time, but we're not going to do it on a podcast. What I've seen of it so far, and a series of tweets that have since been deleted, definitely looks as if there's going to be a lot of ray tracing going on within Project Cars 4. They are going to be using a brand new engine, and then they're going to be using the new Live Track 4 as well. And let's not forget, Live Track was a very good thing in Project Cars 2. It had a few issues, and it seems to have had a few issues in Project Cars 3, but apparently they worked on it quite well. Not many of us in Next Gen do play on Project Cars 3, but from those I've spoken to who they have referenced the fact that the Live Track adaptation was still actually quite good in the game. So they've also going to be using a lot of bump mapping rather, to look at surface texture and looking at sort of aerodynamics for the simulation model. Now, the big comments on all of this is that a few others have chimed in from development side, which I've gone and had a little bit of a nosy for a few places, and have said that it's a lesson learned from Project Cars 3. They've acknowledged they ballsed up. That's a quote. I'm not making that up. But I think the biggest problem is that, well, I say it's a problem, but bear with me while I go through this because it's a little bit of a theory, is that it's kind of convenient timing, isn't it, boys? Because SMS, owned by Codemasters, this big bidding war that's going on. This is realistically the last shot that a Project Cars game has before it gets canned. And with a big developer, like big publisher like EA or Take-Two behind it, they'll have the money and the resources to give it a whirl. Because let's be honest, EA, if they end up getting the market, that means they get F1, they get WRC, they get the BTCC, they're going to have another simulation game, Project Cars.
They'll have Dirt to go with it.
Add Dirt into that, they're going to cover the racing game market. You throw in Need for Speed as well, you throw in the other racing games that EA has published. There's going to be a huge... This is the problem. I spoke about this with a few people, and in fact, Jordan, I mentioned this to you a few seasons back. The biggest worry is a company taking the entirety of the market in terms of the
monopolising it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear, is that all these 6 potential games there I've just mentioned, all covering, various levels of realism, but the only biggest competitors are Polyphony, who do GT Sport, obviously Kunos, who do Assetto Corsa, and anyone sort of like iRacing, Race Room, etc. But even those ones on PC are quite niche, and even Assetto Corsa is quite niche. So realistically, it's going to be Codemasters, and whether it's EA and Take-Two versus Polyphony. That's it. Turn 10, I suppose, with Forza, but that's again
for the Xbox, for the Xbox market, or the Microsoft market, should we say?
It's going to be
interesting. Obviously, I know, because I obviously keep an eye on financial source side of things. But it's about $1.2 billion, which I think works out about
$45 million.
It's about £1 billion, roughly speaking, without getting into too many details. It's about £1 billion that EA have bid. And at the moment, I haven't seen any further news on Take-Two upping their bid yet. So, as it stands, EA are in the controlling seat right now.
I've heard that from what I know from speaking to a few people, that EA's offers actually monetary, I believe, is actually less than what Take-Two have offered, but it's the control that they're giving to Codemasters, which, it's a good thing, but we know that EA has a history in terms of acquiring studios and then things going wrong, but this is quite a big studio. It's not like BioWare, it's not like BlackRock, it's not like other...
the key thing...
Yeah.
DICE. I'd say it's like DICE a little bit, because DICE are massive.
Where? Black Box.
Yeah.
Where? Who else?
Huge.
The list's endless, mate. My personal opinion, EA get hold of it, I'll just stop playing racing games, because at the end of the day, mate, they're just gonna it just won't feel right.
I think if I'm going to be honest, if EA buy it and they just go, right, we're not going to change that Codemasters are making it, we're going to buy them, but Codemasters will still be Codemasters, and they continue to do what they do.
Which is what I've heard as part of the deal.
If that is what's going to happen, that is the right move, because also we know EA produces all the Need for Speed games and that, which, don't get me wrong, they're fun. I mean, I've spoken to Mike about this. They're fun to drive. They're fun to play, but the physics are just utterly horrendous.
Drifting a front wheel drive Honda Civic. Legit.
But if they leave Codemasters to do what they do, just go like, all we're going to do is just buy you. We're not going to do anything with you. We're just going to buy you and keep and fund you. You carry on doing what you do. I think it will be fine. But if EA in any spot starts getting involved in the games they make, such as F1, Dirt, there's going to be issues.
I think the big thing actually is that with games like F1 and WRC, I think it's actually important for them to get involved. I don't mean in terms of the creation of the physics, I mean the licenses, because there's been so much over the years made of F1 slowly introducing things. You saw how they introduced Formula 2. It took a number of seasons. F3's coming. That's a fact. It's coming. It's just not been confirmed yet because Codemasters have taken a long time to try and accrue all the value that's needed to put it in the game, sort it out with Liberty Media. EA have got massive financial juggernaut. Let's not forget. They've got trade deals with football, of course. They run FIFA. There's a whole host of stuff. There's UFC, NBA. Actually, no, it's not NBA. It's UFC.
And NBA.
Yeah, you're thinking of NFL.
NFL's, yeah.
National Football League. Was it Madden?
Yeah.
You've got baseball, MLB.
To be fair,
we could go through the whole thing, but their financial clout is needed. Now, I know there's a few concerns that people have. Okay, I completely understand. It's like, well, EA do microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff. Let me just make a counter argument to this. Codemasters are no better. And bear with me. Dirt Rally 2 is the best example of this because I love Dirt Rally 2. Jordan, I know you do too. Codemasters, though, are the only game company I've ever known to have gone, okay, so we've got these new stages for Dirt Rally 2, got 5 new locations, which is not that much. And then they go, here's an idea. Rather than creating new ones, apart from Scotland, why don't we sell everyone all the rally stages from Dirt 1 and then make it into a season pass? Codemasters are just as slimy, but they get away with it because they're not a AAA company like EA. Now, the other part of this, and this is the reason why I want EA to take over Codemasters and not Take-Two, is because Take-Two are literally the worst company in the world in gaming, outside of potentially Ubisoft, but we won't get into that now. The reason why Take-Two are so bad is if you look on a moral level, not at the loot boxes or the season passes or anything like that. The microtransactions are very bad for. You just look at GTA 5, how long online's been going on for so many years. It's a huge cash cow, effectively. But if you look at how Take-Two in the publishing department pushes their employees, the Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a fantastic game, I absolutely love it. The crunch, the moral crunch on that people working for 6 to 12 months, working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. For me, that's a no-go. Companies that do that, they lose a lot of respect. So EA, I know they do have a period of crunch. It's not the same, and it doesn't make it right in any way, shape or form, but they are the lesser of two evils in my opinion. And I must say, this is my opinion. It's not NXTGEN's opinion. It's mine.
Yeah, obviously all opinions really are our own, but if EA come in and all they do is just help buy the licenses, I'm all up for that, because I would love to see, I think you'd probably agree with me on this one, Jack, I'd love to see a Dirt Rally 3, however, with cars of a club level nature, because you got all the famous cars that are in it, but I'd like to see like 1400 front wheel drives, 1600 front wheel drives, some proper clubby level cars that in reality you can't really get licenses for as much because of how old and because some of these cars aren't exactly famous, should we say. I mean, the one car I was surprised at actually was the Vauxhall Nova that McRae drove. That's not in the game because obviously Vauxhall or General Motors probably haven't given them the rights to the Vauxhall. They've given them rights to the Opel.
As of last year, Jord, not last year, the year before, it's PSA Group now, not General Motors.
Yeah, I forgot they got done by them as well.
Which is even going to be worse because, in my personal opinion, don't do French cars. Just.
What I will say, because you just reminded me of something there, George, because it was a conversation me and Mikey had a good number of years ago, and Mikey, whether you remember, I don't know.
Why should I feel scared?
We spoke years ago about the perfect rally game, and this was like before WRC 5, so we're going back a good number of years now.
Oh God, 10 years?
Well, about 5, 6 years. we were a good chance that we'd love to see rally cars that are just like you just mentioned, Jordan, at club level, like Citroen Saxo, Volvo 240.
Volvo 240, you must be rallying in Finland, mate.
Yeah, Volvo 240s, kit cars like the 106. The list goes on. If you look
Proper
at the
dirt,
MG,
like the original Dirt 3, in my opinion.
What was the MG back in the day? I can't remember.
The ZR, that was a Super 1600, and
604.
604 is on the game.
The ZR,
The ZR,
one, yeah.
which could be a 1400 or a 1600. I mean, you look on. I tell you what, the perfect example of this, Jack, is Richard Burns Rally nowadays with all the mods. They have 1400 Fabias that are front wheel drive. They've got everything where people in the community have modded them in, and it is fantastic.
You look at the Skoda Felicia from the 1990s, like a car that's just a box on wheels. Who doesn't want to drive that? That's brilliant. That's the whole point of rallying. And if they could do that with a rally game, not WRC because they won't, but I'm telling you they'll do something with it. I do think that there can be a lot of good that comes from the EA deal. I'm still saying be hesitant, don't hype yourselves up over it, and it's going to be a few years before we see the real impact of it, if it goes through. That was obviously the main caveat of that. But I don't think it's as bad as people would assume it to be at the minute. I think it's a good opportunity for Codemasters. I really do.
The potential is there, it just has to be done correctly.
But I think
it's like a well-aged wine. I agree with what you're just saying in the terms of EA can bring X amount across to the board.
Yeah,
they can do this, they can do that. I'm not going to deny it, because at the end of the day, you'd be stupid to basically sit there and no, they can't. But me personally, this has come from a massive Need for Speed fan. Who, I'll say it now, in my personal opinion, the best ones, obviously, Most Wanted and Carbon.
Yeah.
Up there is the best. But when you've got, like both the studios that made those games, like obviously Black Box gone. There was who else was there? Obviously the one who did the last one, they're gone. It just seems to be like a bit of well, I wouldn't say a big, I don't know how to word it. It's hard.
I think you're right though. You can't fully trust them, can you? It's sort of like
it's. I think one way of looking at it is it's like, say if you won the lottery, you sit there and go, oh, I've done this, I've done that, but then you sit there and go, really? You'd have to double. You sort of doubt yourself in certain ways. Like I would. You know what I mean? If some fella turned up my door, "Hi mate, you've won a couple of million quid," I'd be looking around for me mates going, it's a good joke that, lads. Nice one. But that's what it feels like with EA. You just they bring out some really good looking content, and you're like, this looks pretty good. This, you know what I mean? Like we've had conversations in the past, mate, which we both of us have sat there and thought, this looks amazing, this, that, the other. And about a month later, it's like, we've done this, but if you want this, you have to pay this, and you're like, eh?
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting to find out.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is, we could waffle on, couldn't we, for hours about it, and I think we're coming to the end of another good podcast, boys.
Yeah.
Just
Another good podcast. I'm conscious of time for everyone who is listening. Anyway, if it's past your bedtime, go to bed.
Yeah.
In any case, as always, make sure you do tune in to NXTGEN social medias, of course, obviously with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also follow us on Discord. as well. And keep an eye out on the main Facebook page that we've got. Obviously, that's our sort of main key area to have a look at, get involved in the events, the discussions, everything that's going on, which is the key point. But for the time being, thanks very much for watching. It's bye from Mikey.
Toodaloo. See you later.
It's bye from Jord.
Good night.
And it's bye from me. Have a good one. Wherever you might be in the big wide world, stay safe.